Hi, this is Hegemonix. I'm Misha and I'm here with my colleague George Michaelopoulos, and we are here to. I'm just going to leave it open, like discuss current events, because sometimes nothing happens for a century, and then sometimes the whole century happens in a week, as the saying
Yeah,
goes.
as the saying goes.
And that's where we are here. We got two high-profile murders to deal with, and there's a lot of other stuff that's
Yeah,
on the table too. So it's just I figured we'd just do stream of consciousness, and
yeah.
I tried to get some kind of thing together. Well, I didn't really try some little outline together, but I thought probably just between you and I batting it back and forth, we'd cover everything that needs to be covered this week. So
I think so. I think
yeah,
so. And
guess we start off with. You might as well go ahead and start off with the um Charlie Kirk thing,
yeah,
and then we'll go back to the Zarutska thing
yeah,
because Charlie Kirk, it's in the news. I watched his work sometimes, and I know you did,
yeah.
and he didn't seem to me that to be that controversial in the same sense that like Nick Fuentes can
Right,
be, or other people who are more alt-right types.
right.
Certainly not like Jared Taylor or anything like that. Um,
Yeah,
and um, and he was bold enough to go on college campuses and
right.
um,
Nick,
yes, some
Charlie Kirk was a gentleman, and he was a
yeah,
gentle soul, and he was smart as a whip. Don't get me wrong. And he was a debater nonpareil. Um, Probably not up to Oxford Union debate, but close to it. And the thing is, if y- if you thought he said something racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, bigoted, I said, well, debate me. And the thing that's been going through my head is they didn't kill him because of what he said and what he believed. They killed him because they couldn't defeat his ideas in an open forum because
yeah.
his ideas were not controversial by any
No,
stretch of the imagination. I mean,
no, I didn't think so.
you know, they they really weren't. And and the thing is, Charlie Kirk was the off ramp. This civil strife or civil war we're going to. There's always ways that you can get off of it, you know.
Hmm.
And in the American Civil War, uh, Lincoln suggested the 13th Amendment, which would say enshrine slavery in the South, and said we're not going to bother it. Well, South Carolina, for some reason, didn't accept it, and neither did the 10 other states, and things just got out of hand. But there
Hmm.
were times in which it could have been short circuited. Okay,
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk was the short circuit because he was a gentleman, a Christian, kind, nice. Let's talk
Hmm.
about things. Let's you and me talk. But
Yeah.
they've eradicated that now. And
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed, online from I keep my pulse on my finger on several pulses. One of them is I watch Russian news pretty much every day from Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan.
uh
We'll get back to that because they have an interesting take on this.
I'd like,
They knew
yeah.
who did it. They who knew who did it before anybody was saying anything over here, just because
Well,
they
in enlighten us.
They they were like, I mean, as far as a name, they didn't have a name,
Uh-huh.
but they had it was like 2 days ago, they were blaming it on, liberal Democrats and, oh, no, that's not what they called it. Liberal fascists or fascist Democrats.
Fascist
Those are the 2
Democrats, okay,
terms.
okay.
The fascist was always part of it, and they believed that fascists and for them, fascist means something different than it does for us.
Right,
Fascists were the ones that they fought in World War II,
right,
and they see liberals, the liberal establishment that has attacked them through, Ukraine
right.
as fascists.
Yeah.
And so that's the liberal fascists, the fascist Democrats that,
Well,
that
they're
kill
not
him.
wrong. They're
No,
not
they're not.
wrong because we've armed the Banderites, and
Yeah,
truth be told, we always kept a faction of the Banderites ever since 1948. You know, there were a
yeah,
lot of people we did not prosecute, and we kept them
yeah,
in, in hiding or whatever. To
yeah, yeah,
so, and these were card carrying Nazis. Okay, I mean these guys thought the that the sun, moon, and stars rose in Hitler's butthole, you know? So, there's
yeah.
no, pardon my French, but,
Well,
uh,
that's true. I mean, all they did was they reorganized the army, the
yeah.
Nazi army they had
Right.
in Ukraine, and they took the Nazi scientists too and
Oh,
put them
yeah.
in
Oh,
NASA
yeah.
and all that.
Operation
Uh,
Paperclip.
yeah. So, but with when I've been looking mostly on X, but also other media, and it's really there's something that's very different. Um, in the, I guess, left-right debate in America now.
Uh,
It's, or on the right anyway. Um, I think these 2 killings, Zarutska and, Kirk,
uh,
pulled, the curtain back because of the reaction to them on the left
right.
in the liberal quarters. There were people who were like, "I don't give a rat's tail about the white girl that the black guy
Yeah.
um, killed," and there was a whole lot of that, and then there's a whole lot of, "My God, these people are animals.
Yeah.
They're just, you
Yeah.
know."
And
Um,
Charlie Kirk was all over the internet talking about it too.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
he wasn't being mealy-mouthed and saying, "Well, the true racists are the Democrats," or stuff like that. No, no, he was naming names. And
yeah,
a and I just can't help but think that maybe your liberal fascists decided to take him out to switch the, narrative from that poor,
yeah.
Ukrainian girl. I just can't
Yeah,
help but think that.
that's my theory of what happened because if you have to live through things in order to appreciate exactly how, like, for example, um, I remember the, Georgian, Russian war from 2008, and I got to work early, like,
Right,
about 6:30, and I turned,
right.
the computer on and started looking at it, and the very first reports that were coming out were that the Georgians had attacked, autonomous provinces and had killed a lot of,
Right,
had killed 15 Russian, peacekeepers and had bombed
right.
shelled civilian neighborhoods and all that stuff. And then within like a half hour, 45 minutes, all that crap disappeared. And this new load of crap
Yeah,
that the Russians had attacked, Georgia, and everybody
right.
was falling in line with it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch that in real time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. It reminded me of it. What has happened in the last few days that there was this
Yeah.
one thing with Zarutska where that guy, and it took a while, several days, well, weeks, really, but for the full video to come out. Have you seen the full thing where he actually
Um,
stabs her and then,
yeah,
yeah,
it's painful.
uh, it's, well, it was,
I mean,
actually, it wasn't as
painful.
bloody as I thought it would be, but you
How
could see the blood. Yeah, yeah.
how
I don't wanna get too
forgive me,
graphic
I
in
mean,
talking about it.
it's infinitely worse for her, but, it was
Yeah,
disturbing for me to watch it. I don't mean to wrap
Right.
myself in her victimhood. I don't mean that at all.
Yeah. But yeah, really disturbing. Um, and the reactions to it were just awful
Yeah,
from the black community. I mean, there's some that were civil about it, but that's the level of hatred that the
yeah,
Democrats and the
oh
Union
yeah,
Party has instilled in the black community,
yes,
yeah, that no one around her thought to do anything,
right.
on the bus or on the train, didn't think to
I
do
w-
anything. They were just sitting there.
I was
Some of them
watching
were there's one
Brandon.
filming it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I all along those lines. I was watching Brandon Tatum. He was interviewed by, I think it was Tim Pool, and he runs a popular podcast called The Officer Tatum, and he's a very very staunch conservative and all that. But he said, you know what? When I was younger, we cheered on this kind of stuff. We thought she had it coming, or if he was a white guy, we had it coming. We really hated and resented white people, he said, and
Mhm,
we were encouraged to do so.
mhm.
And of course, I mean, and I know, as long as we've both been alive, I mean, it's like all white people are bad, evil, Civil War, slavery, blah blah blah, without ever giving a historical context or anything like that. Like slavery is universal. Okay,
Yeah.
black Africans sold slaves, captured other black Africans and sold them to Arab slavers. Arab
Right.
slavers took them to Dakar and the coast and sold them to Dutch transatlantic guys. The ships
Yeah.
were owned by Dutch Jews. Okay,
Yeah.
uh, and when they landed in Antigua, the slave auction houses were also owned by Jews, and then they were bought by whites or Spaniards or whatever. But there's a whole chain of causality of a whole bunch of people who were part of the slave trade, including black people. Okay, and then of course
Yeah.
you had the Arab slave trade, and you had the fact that over 1 million Europeans, mainly my people, and some Slavs were
Mhm,
kidnapped by Barbary Coast pirates and taken to the Middle East. So if
mhm.
you're ever in Syria or Lebanon or Iraq and you see all these white people there, say, "Well, I thought Arabs were brown." No, that's because they had European grandmothers, or actually great 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 grandmothers, and
Right.
you know, so I mean, okay, slavery's not fun, I get it, but we're not it. It's not the unique evil of the United States. It's not, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, black people have been marinated in this culture of hate
Mhm.
uh, for reasons we can get into if you want. I mean, there's lots of reasons
Well,
to
it's
keep them
all
down in
political
plantation for one
exploitation
thing.
for the most part, yeah. It's all political exploitation for the most part. I mean, if you go back and you look at texts that were written before the civil rights movement, in the
Hmm.
40s and 50s, they had a completely different ideas about race than we
Yeah,
do. There was no, I mean, there was a condescending, what we would call today, or what a lot of people would call, I wouldn't call, racist or ethnocentric references to coloreds,
right,
to Negroes, to
right,
African uh, American people. But at the same time, um, there was none of the kind of uh, nobody was stoking the hatred of against the old South,
right.
or was wearing slavery as a chip on the shoulder, or said that anybody should wear slavery as a chip on the shoulder.
Right.
And then when the civil rights movement came in, that's when people became radicalized and left us where we are today. Because, like, I mean, there are people like well, I was going to mention Thomas Sowell, but there are a lot of people who remember what it was like, a dwindling number of people
Right.
before the civil rights movement in the black community. And it was much better in the black community than it is now,
Oh, sure.
uh, the civil rights
Absolutely.
movement. And but part of that was they didn't have their own kind of gangster, you know, culture that was there. They
Right.
tried to fit in as best they could to white
Yeah.
culture, and they
Mm.
dressed the same way and talked pretty much the same way,
Right.
uh, and then it just went downhill with the civil rights
Well,
movement.
during the civil rights movement, I mean, um, in communist infiltrators infiltrated the civil rights movement.
Yeah,
Um, I think Bayard Rustin was one, and he was a um, gay as well as a communist.
right.
And then there were other communists as well. I mean, mostly white and or Jewish, and they just insinuated themselves in into the entire not just civil rights movement, but the Black Panthers. Uh,
Yeah,
David Horowitz, who was a communist, talked about it and how he
yeah,
was sympathetic with the Black Panthers until they killed one of his uh, not girlfriends, but a female acquaintance who he introduced to the Black Panthers to work as a auditor or treasurer or something like that. And that's when he realized how truly evil communism was, and he left the communist movement. And he was a red diaper baby, but that's a story for another
yeah,
day. But
yeah,
but you had a lot of communist infiltration and agitation. There's no doubt about that. And the NAACP when it started out was completely white. There were no blacks in the NAACP.
yeah.
Mhm. And in the Southern Poverty Law Center,
Right, yeah.
again, also nothing but whites.
Uh,
So,
a, law school professor who was a stark flaming liberal told us a joke about the NAACP and that they were encouraging people. He said he led up to this, and he kept saying, "I shouldn't tell this. I shouldn't tell this. I shouldn't tell this." Um, he said that they would tell people who wanted to. It was a recruitment thing to join the NAACP. Now they did it. They said in the NAACP headquarters, if you go way back in there and you climb some steps and you keep on going further and further back, and there's a safe back there. And if you can get in that safe, you know what they have in there? The bedroom door keys to every white woman in America.
yeah. Mm,
uh,
yeah.
and this guy was as far to the left as there's
Mm,
nothing further to the left than this guy was telling this joke.
mhm.
Uh,
I
uh,
I I I I I saw this is personal to me because I'm from Tulsa, as you know, and of
yeah,
course, 104 years ago in 2021, we had the centennial of the Tulsa race riot,
yeah,
which took place in 1921, and it was the worst outbreak. It was one of many, actually, but it was probably was the worst outbreak of white violence against blacks.
hmm,
And of course, Joe Biden came to Tulsa to inflame the situation. And a lot of lies were said. And it was always called the Tulsa Race Riot. Well, on cue, it was changed to Tulsa Race Massacre. And that's
uh,
how you're supposed to say it. And it wasn't
uh,
a massacre. I mean, I'm not saying that it was a good thing.
hmm,
I'm saying that they could find no more than 36 fatalities, of which
hmm,
26 were black and 10 were white.
hmm,
There may have been others, and unfortunately, to continue fanning the flames of racial hatred. The city of Tulsa spent hundreds of thousands of dollars digging up graves, always, looking for mass graves, because by God, there's mass graves somewhere, and they have found none. I mean, they just
Yeah,
don't
if
have
they're not
none.
there, we'll venom and we'll
Yeah,
bury
yeah,
some
exactly.
someplace
And so
They're just
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, but yet to this day, they still say the Tulsa Race Massacre. I mean, and they try to insinuate it in television shows on Netflix. There was a show about some superheroes that travel back through time, and there was something about that. I went and saw Killers of the August Moon, a pretty good movie by Martin Scorsese, which took place in the Fairfax, Pawhuska area, among the Osage Indian, who in the 1920s were the richest people on earth per capita. And for no reason at all, they show Robert De Niro going into a theater and watching a video about the Tulsa Race Massacre. It was all of 5 seconds. They just insinuated it in there, and for no reason, but to try and implant in people's minds that, oh yeah, this was like whites were riding down like the hordes of Genghis Khan and killing black people left and right. It didn't happen that way. So anyway, so
Well, what had happened with the Zarutska um, killing was that not only did it prompt a lot of blacks to say, I don't care about their family or anything like that. I just, um, and to basically laugh at the story.
uh,
Um, Not only that, but people started putting more and more and more and more videos of black people doing the worst things
yeah, oh yeah,
in the world, mostly beating whites mercilessly,
uh-huh.
or doing nasty things in different places, um, causing all kinds of, I mean, just basically acting like animals.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
I mean, this is, yeah, it's horrible.
and you have to, like, the thing to understand is the reason that these people are attacking whites so much, the media and academia
Uh-huh.
and the people who are pushing this thing about the Oklahoma massacre, is they have to make whites sound horribly bad because blacks are that horribly bad, and they
Yeah,
have to
I'm,
make it sound that whites are worse than this really
yeah.
awful.
Well, I
Um,
mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, I've got black friends, and I go to church with black people, and their friends, and customers and acquaintances, and uh, but there's a class out there of black people that are just totally feral, and I'd like to believe that that's not their natural state, but that they're being encouraged to act this way. I mean, uh, I I was at Walgreens. There's one just a half mile down from my house. This was a couple of years ago, and it was a Sunday, and it was or Saturday, and it was slow, and I was in line, and behind me was a black man. In front of me was a white woman, and in front of her was this black guy who was just being belligerent, just being absolutely belligerent. I wish I'd had my phone and I'd filmed it. And he was just berating the cashier because he accused her of looking at him as he was coming out of the bathroom. And this went on for a good 10 minutes minimum.
mm.
And it was a horrible scene. I don't like scenes. I didn't like it. The woman in front of me didn't like it. The black guy behind me didn't like it. And if I'd thought about it, I could have told this guy, "Come on, let's just take this guy out and rough him up a little bit," or something like that. He may have done it. I don't know.
In ancient past,
It was just, finally I said something. I said, "Just leave, okay? Just leave." And he said, "Well, you being uppity with me or something like that." And I said, just leave. He left eventually, whatever. But it was just horrible. And he and he had the talking points, you know,
Mhm.
oh, you're stalking me because I'm black. I'm shopping while black. He had it all. 400 years of oppression. And it was at the top of his lungs. Okay. I've
They've
never
created monsters. The Democratic
yeah.
Party has created a sea of monsters, and they'll go in. Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen the shoplifting videos.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
where it's just that's like a spectator sport as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
Um, I have a thing. It used to be my next door neighbor was a black guy who I got along with fine. Our dogs played together and everything. Um, but he had a BLM sign out front. And
Uh-huh.
he never said anything about it to me,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't say anything about it to him. But here's the point with, I mean, I think that there are a whole bunch more people, and you may very well not be there yet. I am,
Uh-huh.
um, who have said to themselves, "We can't live with these people anymore. We
Yeah.
just can't live with them, and we got to push them out of the country, or
Yeah.
we got to push them into their own states and
Right.
get out of there." And the
Well,
reason
Louis
being,
Farrakhan believes that. Louis Farrakhan and the Black Muslims, they believe that there should be a separate Black Confederacy or whatever nation.
and that was the one thing that, what was his name? George Lincoln Rockwell
Yeah.
and, uh, Farrakhan agreed on. They actually appeared together at some point.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I thought
Yeah.
that was amazing. They
Yeah.
had come to the same conclusion from different
Yeah.
directions.
I I I
Um,
I think it matters on where you live. For instance, if you live in the Northeast, Vermont or Connecticut or New Hampshire, you live in the most white states in the nation, 94, 96% white. If you live in, um, and those are liberal states, by the way.
mhm,
Okay. If you live, probably where you live in Kentucky, maybe it's, a little bit more, they, I don't know. I know in Oklahoma it's
70%
70%
black, I
white.
think. Uh,
And so we
but a lot
don't,
of Mexicans.
yeah, 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 but they're really, there's this thing called flight from white or flight to white.
Mm,
And we're seeing more flight to white here, I think, in Oklahoma and in Texas.
mhm.
Less on the Hispanic chip on the shoulder, Chicano,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Aztlan, we want the Reconquista and stuff like that.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
not seeing that as much as you were 5 or 10 years ago, especially because
yeah,
Trump got reelected. I mean, when he renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and nobody said boo about it, not one word, and
yeah.
it's like already on Google on the official maps, it's the Gulf of America. You don't like it? There's the door. And I mean, um, the evictions are going up, are climbing. The border is, for all intents and purposes, sealed. There's been no
Yeah.
illegal border crossings, according to the statistics. Now, have all 20 million illegals left? No, but maybe a million have or are starting. You got to start somewhere.
You gotta start
So,
somewhere,
you,
and there's
you,
gonna
you
be a lot of self-deportation
you
that
know,
occurs. The
the
more ICE
yeah.
raids or the more self-deportation, yeah.
Well, the thing I like about Trump is that he's not a racist,
Mhm,
but he's a very proud man of the West. He's German on his father's side and Scottish on his mother's side. Did I say German on his father's side? Is that what I said? Yeah. And he's still got close ties to Europe, as do I. His mother's an immigrant. My father's an immigrant. His
mhm,
father's American born, but his father's father was from Hamburg, Germany.
mhm,
And he Europe is a very superior civilization, and it's what built America. And there's no reason to be ashamed of it. And
mhm.
and he exudes confidence, and I think people are picking up on it. I think more of white Americans are, but I think Hispanics are as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'm not really that concerned about the Hispanic situation since Trump got back in office and
mhm.
started to doing the deportations because I think it'll probably solve itself. I'm a lot less happy about the black situation, but I think probably, you know, because, like, first of all, God bless Elon Musk.
Yeah.
May God protect him.
Yes. Yeah.
Because what he has done is set up a thing, X, which can take the pulse of the country
Yes.
in real time where everybody can see it.
Uh,
You know what all these people are thinking now
yeah.
because they're not shy about, everybody has a phone up and they're doing,
Mhm.
selfies and selfie videos. And so that's probably, in my humble opinion, the greatest thing about X is that it's a window right into the
Right.
souls of so many people. And that's the thing that was shocking about both these killings, was not only the killings themselves, but the reactions to those killings from the black community on the one hand, and from the liberal community, from liberals
Yeah.
on the thing. Because
Exactly.
the liberals were worse than the blacks were about
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
whole thing.
I-
They were just
I
yeah.
mean, they're trolls. Uh, the silver lining there is that a lot of them have been identified, are getting doxxed, and they're getting fired
Yeah.
from their
600 and something
jobs.
now. There's
We're talking
somebody's
about
actually
mid-level
counter them.
professionals
Yeah.
here. We'll have educators, teachers. There was even a
Yeah.
Marine corporal or something like that. And we got to bless Pete Hegseth because he's really cracking skulls over there.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Trump's renamed it the Department of War. You know,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Just going back to the founding. It's far less
That's what it was.
Orwellian.
Yeah.
You know, and the yeah, it's yeah. We don't. Yeah, there's you know cultural confidence. Ex- Once it exudes confidence, um, victory brings victory.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what I'm picking up. As far as black people, they're just going to have to solve it on their own. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
one thing we can do is go into the school systems and say, no more of this DEI woke bullshit. Yeah, you were slaves, but so were the Irish. Okay. So were a whole bunch of indentured servants who came here. And guess what? There was a civil war that was fought, not for slavery, but at the end of it, you were emancipated. Okay. Find me one other spot in human history in which a majority population fought to free a minority population.
Hmm. Um, there's
So be grateful, in other words.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I've told people online uh to carry conspicuously. And the reason being, um, not because I have any concern at all about being attacked by blacks or anybody else.
Uh-huh,
It's the message and the deterrent value of it. If on that particular bus,
uh-huh.
you had even the black people, if they had been armed,
Yeah,
that that might have gone very differently.
right.
Because there's a guy there with a knife, but if he knew that there are people who could pull out a gun and shoot him if he did
Uh-huh.
something, then he's much less likely, I think, to
Right.
do anything.
The only caveat to say is that he did it so quickly and she
That's true.
bled out so quickly. Now, he might have got shot, fine, but there was no way she was gonna live.
Right.
And this brings me to something else. The immediate thing that happened after that, I was watching on some videos, especially Christian videos, um, traditional Catholics, is why are we even allowing women to get on these trains at all?
Mhm.
Couldn't her father have driven to pick her up from work?
Mm.
Which
Mm.
which brings us to a whole other thing. Should women be out of the house?
Yeah, well,
You know, and we probably don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now,
oh,
but
we can do a show about it at some point,
yeah, I mean,
but
what I
yeah.
constantly hear the refrain is every woman says, "I'm afraid. I'm always afraid." You don't know what it's like to be a woman to always be afraid. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. I'm not a woman. I don't know what it's like. But if that's the case, then that's something that's just ingrained in you, and it's been that way for millennia. And ordinarily, you take any society, women would only go out of the house with their husband or their oldest son, maybe
Mhm,
their brother,
mhm.
and
I mean,
eh,
my mother, was born in 1937, and she felt uncomfortable going out to eat alone. It was like the people would think badly of her if she went to a restaurant alone and sat
uh-huh,
down and ordered something, and
uh-huh,
it used to be a thing where, like you said, and she was, a single. I mean, my parents were married, when I was born, but they got divorced when I was about 3 years old, and
uh-huh,
so, she was a single mom for,
uh,
most of the time that she was around,
uh-huh,
with me, um, and she wasn't really headstrong about the feminist stuff. She worked, but we lived with my grandparents for a good,
right,
part of that time. But, yeah, it's true that there's a situation where that shouldn't. I mean,
yeah,
in my own opinion, uh, if you're a white girl and you see nobody but blacks and one of them is a black guy wearing a hoodie, you get off the bus.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
exactly. Yeah, she was strikingly beautiful. I mean, she looked like Marilyn Monroe in a couple of her glamour shots.
well, she
Um,
didn't know any better. She was from Ukraine. She
yeah,
she just came in. It
exactly.
hadn't been that long since she was in here.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's North Carolina.
yeah,
It's not exactly like it was New York or
hmm,
Chicago or anything like that, where
right,
somebody taken her aside and said,
hmm,
"This is all dangerous out here. You can't do this."
right,
um,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I think people. What's going to happen is, I mean, I on my Facebook page, I put up as the banner, the big picture is a Confederate flag with the words "Shoot back" on it. And that's basically my
uh,
attitude towards it. And I think that probably there are a lot of people out there
uh,
who are like-minded, and you're gonna see, like that thing I, sent you about, or I don't know whether I sent it to you or, um, where is it? Not you no, it was Utah State Capitol, where they were doing a memorial for, Charlie Kirk, and the guy rode by on a bicycle saying, "Fuck Charlie Kirk."
uh,
And they dragged his butt off of it and beat the crap out of him, and,
good,
yeah, I mean,
good. And those people are Mormons. More
yeah,
these people on earth than the Mormons. I mean, they're like when you think of Ozzy and Harriet, it's the
yeah,
Mormons. Okay,
right, yeah,
I mean, and for them to get that riled up, yeah. I mean, I don't espouse violence. I'm not encouraging violence, but again, I'm not preaching for civil war, but I'm predicting it. And if you go around and acting like a jackass, um, and a hateful one at that, then don't be surprised if somebody just comes up to you and just takes a baseball bat too. to your kneecaps or, punches you in the face. I mean, it's just
Well,
gonna
that's
happen.
yeah, that's the thing that's the arena that it's going to happen. It's not going to be the government has a role in all this, but it's not to quash the free speech of the left or of the black community or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, well, I'll get to the government's role in a second, but the role of the people on the street is to say that a lot of this stuff is not acceptable anymore.
Right.
And like you said, if you get too far out of the line, then they'll put you right back in line.
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
exactly. I mean,
with extreme
I
prejudice.
mean, you're you're a lawyer. There's this doctrine called fighting words, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you get up in somebody's face and you say the wrong thing,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's like an assault. Yeah, but you have to use. I mean, it gets complicated because you have to use proportional force, so you can't
Right, exactly,
do too much.
exactly. But
But if you're in a crowd, who's do you know who hit you? I mean, there's
yeah,
that kind of thing that
yeah,
goes on as well. I mean, it's a bunch of people, which I've seen several um, crowds of blacks getting on whites, but also that crowd in particular getting on that guy who they didn't like what he said.
right.
Um, and Charlie Kirk was a champion of free speech,
He was.
and when you shoot down a champion of free speech, the rules, I think, for a lot of people change.
Yeah.
Um,
What's striking to me is how the outpouring of grief in the United States has been. I didn't expect it, but
yeah.
over the in other parts of the world, in Europe, I mean, it's like the guy was like a martyr. I just saw a photo of Maori Christians in New Zealand,
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
were
Hmm.
holding up pictures of Charlie Kirk, and they were chanting in their Maori phrases and
They
their
were doing
hymns.
that thing that they
Yeah,
did. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, I mean, New Zealand. I mean, that's like on the other side of the world, you know.
yeah.
But Charlie. I mean, uh, the people who did this have awakened a sleeping giant.
Hmm. Yeah, it's difficult to say exactly what the giant's going to do,
Yeah,
but the giant is definitely awake,
yeah,
and you can see his nervous system. You just have to click on X and just
yeah.
watch how it
I'm gl-
goes.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I've been singing Elon Musk's praises for 3 years now because he
Mhm.
bought Twitter. And I know there's a lot of goofy things about his religiosity and a lot of goofy things about his personality. And, he's got 13 kids and all that. You fight with the army you got. And X has
Yeah.
been, X has been turned into the free speech forum in the world. If he hadn't have bought X, think of what we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And Trump wouldn't
Well,
have won re-election.
yeah. Well, Trump would have had to do a lot more with Truth Social and find
Yeah,
somebody really to
yeah,
turn it up. It was like Twitter in order for things to go this way. And yeah, Elon had a big part to play in Trump's election, and Charlie Cook had a big part
and
to
so did
play.
Charlie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. His
Now,
influence with the younger people is
oh yeah,
phenomenal. It's like it was under 2 million when he was killed, and now it's up to 11 million.
really.
And his wife is going to take on the. I thought it was going to be what's his name, Ben Shapiro, because he
Oh
offered to
God,
take over
no. Oh
the point.
God, no.
Yeah, I didn't like that idea either at all.
No.
But his wife
Well,
says she's going to continue it on, and
I
I don't know
hope
who's
so.
going to run it, but
I'm going to say something. Date it. Today is September 13th, Saturday, when we're recording this.
Mhm.
His wife has a future.
Yeah,
She's got a political future. She's going to pick up the mantle because Charlie Kirk, one of the reasons he was taken out was because he was going to be 35 in 2028.
hmm
He's going to be eligible to run for president or vice president, and the word on the street was him and Vance.
Yeah.
Okay, and that would have been unstoppable. And of
Yeah,
course,
I'd
Vance,
like that much more than Vance and Rubio or some,
yeah, Rubio still
out
too
there.
got some hidden neocon things. He's saying the right things,
Yeah,
but still, um,
yeah,
Vance took his body on Air Force Two, and when
uh-huh,
they landed in Arizona, he was one of the pallbearers carrying the casket to the hearse. Very
yeah,
classy, very classy. Reminds me of when Julius Caesar was assassinated and Mark Antony picked up his bloody shirt and, spoke to the Romans. It was,
mm.
that sort of thing's going on here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you got it going on 2 levels here. We've talked some about what's happening on the ground with the people, but, not only was, Charlie Kirk a friend of the vice president, he was also a friend of Trump's son,
Oh, yeah.
Barron,
And of
and
Trump.
of Trump, yeah,
Yeah.
and, I get the impression that, it's hard to tell right now because, you've had this thing, going on, like, out in LA, and they're talking about Chicago as well, and who knows where else it's gonna be, the federal, federalizing National Guard or putting,
Uh-huh.
military, um, but he's talking about doing a RICO case against Soros
Oh, yeah.
and all
Oh,
those
yeah.
people, which is what I
Absolutely.
thought should be done
Absolutely.
from do a
I've been
RICO
singing
case
that song for
against
years now.
Soros, the DNC,
Yeah.
and get everything that you can possibly get, and
Yeah.
that's how you destroy the
Yeah.
Democratic Party and how you destroy Soros and you get
Uh-huh.
rid of all these, NGOs and all this other
Right.
crap.
Right.
And he's onto that, and this is seems to like it's precipitated it because he was really morose, and, Melania was really morose, and,
Yeah.
I think they're delving for root causes,
Uh-huh.
and they wanna rip it out root and branch.
Speaking of root causes, did you hear that the first international leader to give his condolences, even before the president knew that he was dead, was Benjamin Netanyahu?
Yeah, I heard something about that, yeah.
Mhm.
I wonder about this is, I guess, something we need to address here, because 'cause we've been going kinda back and forth on it, and I'm open to, possibilities, and I think you are as well.
Mhm.
Um, when it first happened with Charlie, um, I saw a video of it from where it was at a distance, and you just saw him slump over or something like that, and I thought, "Well, it could be just like, Trump and it just grazed his ear or something like that."
Mhm.
And that's when I sent the email to you that they shot, Charlie,
Mhm.
Kirk, and then a few minutes later, I saw the closer up one, and if you've seen that, you know he was gone. There
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
anything they could have done, um, and, so I think it's really lit a fire, under the executive branch
Yeah.
in a way that, they're talking about in liberal circles this huge crackdown of MAGA and the right on liberals and the left,
Uh-huh.
and they may very well be right,
Yeah.
and that's fine with me.
Yeah. 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 It's fine with me too. Now, I mean, obviously, we're going to do more on this because we just are.
Yeah.
Events will warrant it. But did you notice that before the shot came out, there were two bodyguards behind him, a security detail, and they were doing things with their arms, like giving
Yeah,
signals and stuff like that. And
yeah.
I'm
I
thinking,
saw one of them.
what the hell's
I didn't
going
see
on
the other
here?
one. Yeah,
So
I saw one of them.
this is deeper than we know, I think.
Yeah,
And
and
now
the
we
guy
know
that
that
was arrested who said that I did it, the older guy that was
Y-
arrested and taken
Yeah,
away, this is, I mean, this was a an operation,
yeah,
and it wasn't just one person. There were
yeah,
several people involved, and there were people giving signals, and there were decoys that were supposed to be to focus police attention on, so the guy could get
right.
away. Who was
Yeah,
doing it, and I think it was all done. This gets back to your point about Netanyahu. Um, the like through 4chan and Discord and some other social media avenues. They groomed this guy, and it
yeah,
was part of a plot. I'm not sure how long it took them to put it together. They may have had it for considerable amount of time because he may not have known who the target was until short, days before or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But
Well, these people are
they groomed
brainwashed
this
anyway.
guy
I
and
mean, let's just
put
be
it all
honest. They are
together.
brainwashed. I mean,
Yeah, they're brainwashing, and it takes some time to do that.
right?
But I thought as soon as I saw it, that's the CIA.
Yeah,
That's who did this, or the
yeah.
bureau, or a
I
combination
mean,
of them, and
combination. Somebody
intelligence
in the
community.
deep state did this.
Yeah, and but then this other angle came up, which is not mutual exclusive with it, that it could be the Mossad,
Yeah,
and it could be Netanyahu, and Netanyahu went out of his way to deny
yeah.
that Israel was involved in it, which I thought was kind of why would you do that? That
Me,
kind of
methinks the lady doth protest too much.
yes, yes,
If we're going to be Shakespearean,
yeah. I mean, everybody knows now that Israel whacked Kennedy.
yeah,
And it doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out because if you look through the redacted stuff, all the stuff was redacted about Israel and Israeli
uh,
agents. And there's only one reason why you do that. It's because Israel did it.
yeah.
Um,
I,
you
I,
don't
I,
care whether the
I will
Israel.
say that Israel was complicit. I won't say that they were
Yeah,
the main actors. I will say this: that the best friend Israel had after Kennedy was gone, because Kennedy was no friend of Israel, was LBJ, who LBJ
yeah,
was a truly despicable, vile human being. But he was also a traitor. I mean, all you have to do is look into the USS Liberty,
yeah.
he ordered the sacrifice of 200 American sailors uh,
Really.
with 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 Israeli um, intelligence and Israeli action. So
Yeah.
and we we could spend an hour talking about the USS Liberty. I've got Roger Stone's book about the man who killed Kennedy, and in the appendix, LBJ. Okay. Uh, but in the appendix, he talks about the USS Liberty incident.
Mm,
And boy, oh boy, there's a lot there. It just didn't happen like that. It was planned. So
yeah.
anyway, that's just,
Anyway, I wouldn't rule out that they had something to do with it because Kirk was a Zionist up until recently.
yeah, up until
I
recently.
guess he was to some extent, but he was starting to ask a lot of questions, and he was starting to upset people.
Yes.
And
He, he
the
said,
Israelis
uh,
offered him money.
he
Um,
said, well, I mean, maybe I've I've got more information about Kirk and the Israeli connection. Maybe we could talk about that part two, or whatever you want.
oh,
I don't want to, bore the audience or whatever.
okay, yeah,
But
that's
we've got, yeah, I've got more information about that. There's definitely an Israeli angle, and I'll leave us hanging with this. Zarutska and Charlie both bled out from the neck. And that's an indication of a ritual slaughter, a ritual killing. That's how you do it.
hmm,
Okay. And it was done on certain days, which are numerically important for people who believe in the Kabbalah, which, by the way, is not just Jews. There's a lot of people who believe in the Kabbalah.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah,
there's
and
a
I
whole Luciferian elite of people, mostly whom were Gentiles. So take that for what it's worth, you know. But they all abide by these same rituals and rules.
well, they yeah, I mean, you have to kinda show how they got to Brown, the Zarutza's
Yeah,
killer, uh,
yeah.
but it was
That's why
obvious.
I think we
Yeah,
need to wait at least a couple of days because I think that's going to come out
uh,
how they got to Brown.
could be, yeah.
You know,
So we're about 55 minutes in.
yeah,
Um, I'm trying to think of the only one thing that I would add to all this,
uh huh,
before we close on up is, the bullets are only going one way. They're going from the left to the right.
right,
They'll bring up this Minnesota thing, but the Minnesota thing, yeah, they were, Democratic representatives, but it was a liberal shooter
yeah,
who used to work for Tim Walz that
yeah,
even that was done by.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
And all this stuff is coming from the left.
yeah.
And, it's inherently unstable. It
It is.
destabilizes society to the
Mhm.
point that either you have to crack down on it with the
Oh yeah,
federal government or the people will crack down on it
yeah,
from beneath. And we're at that point where it's probably gonna be a combination of both,
yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
The
what we're
the
looking at.
the our system is fragile. Last week we talked about how civil war was, Britain was imminent for civil war, and I thought that maybe we had dodged some bullets or dodge bullets, or how Trump had pulled the plane out of a nosedive.
Mhm.
Now I'm going to have to revisit that. You
Mm.
know, um,
Yeah,
I'm going to have to revisit that. That's all.
yeah. Well, we'll
E-
keep thinking,
Either
and
way,
we'll
the
do
situation is as unstable on both sides of the pond. I can
yeah,
say that.
yeah, I can agree with you there.
Mm.
So, we'll leave it there,
Okay.
and if, you liked what you saw and heard here, please hit like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Hegemonix.
Ciao. Thank you.